Welcome to the part 1 of building LinkedIn clone mobile UI. So before getting started with the code, let's see the demo of the app. So let's how to start this application, and that is how our splash screen looks like of LinkedIn. And after the splash screen, this navigates us to the onboarding screen, where we have 3 onboarding screen for our LinkedIn. And then we have the options for sign in, join with Google, and join now. We can go for sign in from here. And that is how our sign in page looks like of LinkedIn clone UI. And from here we can again go for join. And when we click this continue, a new field will appear, and that is really simple logic. Just a boolean field is used in here, and we can go back to the sign in, come back to the join, and continue. This will navigate us to the home page. So that is how the home page looks like with the posts, and we can also have multiple posts in here just like this. And we can click this menu, and we have these options of save, share via, unfollow, remove connection with the username, and all of that stuff. That is how the home screen UI looks like. And we also have the profile drawer in here, and then we have the network page, where our network page looks something like this. And then we have the notifications in here, which is a simple UI and nothing is working. We can switch between the my post mentions, but this is just the UI interaction and nothing is actually working because there is no backend, and this is only UI stuff in this week 3. And then we have the jobs, and here we have the recommended for you and more jobs for you, and that is what we're going to build in today's episode. And final page that is remaining to check is this post page. When you click this, you can see this bottom navigation appear, and also this one is a bottom navigation. We can again reappear this bottom navigation by clicking this menu, and we can write something in here. Let's say hello world. And you can see this become colored as we write in here, and now when we remove this text, this will become again like gray disable. Now when we click this cancel, this will navigate back us to the home page. So that is what we're going to do in these 2 parts of building LinkedIn clone UI. So if you have watched the previous videos of the bootcamp, you might know how we can create the splash screens, the onboarding screens, and the very basic authentication screens. So in the starter project of the LinkedIn clone UI, I already have built the splash screen, the onboarding screen, and also the authentication very basic screens. So when you go to the GitHub and downloading the starter project from the starter branch, so here you will find this code in here. I already have the splash screen created, and also the onboarding screens are created, where we have the entities. You might know this from the previous episodes of the bootcamp. And also we have the authentications created, the sign in and a sign up page. So let's go for it. In the emulator we can go for, let's say, the sign in, and this is our sign in page here. Very simple, a logo, some text, and 2 fields, simple text of forget password, and a sign in button, which is again we are using the reusable components from our widgets here, which is a single button container widget which has these dynamic properties with this title required, and also the Google button container widget which has the icon before this, and we also use this Google button container for this Apple also. So this is our sign in page, and the thing you might think that it is a bit unique, or it's not that unique because we're just using a single boolean field, is that in the sign up page, which is in our case the join now page, here when you click this continue, you can see the password appear when we click this. That is, we are just using a simple boolean field which is by default false. And down here what we are doing, when this is true, then show this text field, otherwise a simple container. And the same thing for this size box, to give some size box when this text form field appears. And when this continue is clicked, first if the field was false, set the stat and set this is continue to true, and then if it's true and it's not false, then it will navigate us to the main page. And that's it. That's what we are doing in here. There is nothing fancy in here, but a simple boolean field used in here. So we have display screen, onboarding screens, and also the sign in and sign up page created, which are really simple. And we are going to start our work from the main screens. Let's go to the main screens. We have again nothing but a constant scaffold in the center main page. So let's continue and we will be navigated to the main page. So the home page of our LinkedIn clone looks something like this. First we have the user profile in here, a search bar, and then we have a message icon in here and a divider, and then we're starting our work with the posts. So first of all, before going forward, let's build this bottom navigation bar, and then we will go for creating the screens for all of that: home, network, posts, notifications, and finally the job posts. So in the main page, the first thing that we are going to do is to remove this constant and also remove this center from this body. Then for the app bar, we are going to create a separate widgets directory in here, and inside this widget directory we are going to have an app bar widget, and we do not want to directly add this in here. So inside this app bar widget, we are going to have a preferred size widget and app bar method which accepts the context and the required parameters or the name parameters, which can be null, are on leading tab listener and a title, and a boolean is job tab. The is job tab boolean is because here when we go to the job page, so as we are using the app bar on only the main page and we are checking the condition that if the page was job posts, so here instead of search we will display search jobs, and there will also be the menu icon for seeing the menu in the jobs. That is because we are doing is job tab. So first we are going to build the app bar, and then we will go for the bottom navigation bar and then its screens. So in the app bar, its color is LinkedIn white and the color code in hex. And this is again coming from our theme styles are dark. We have these colors, and here our linter recommends that remove that finals and replace it with constant. So let's do it. Remove all of the finals and replace it with const. There we go. So we got our color constants in here, the LinkedIn blue, black, white, and all of that colors used in the LinkedIn clone app. So in the main page, here it requires the app bar, but first we're looking at the app bar widget. So that was the color, its elevation is 0, and a gesture detector in the leading, because in the leading there will be our profile displayed. So we are displaying here from assets the profile 1 JPG, which is a simple profile that we have here. So in the leading, instead of the back icon, we mostly have the back icons in the leading, which is by default displayed when you navigate to some page using the push method from the navigator API. So here in the leading, we explicitly define that there will be our profile of the user, and when this is clicked, our own leading tab listener will be called. And in the title, instead of passing a simple text title, we pass here our text field, and which is wrapped by a container, and we are designing it a little bit in here by giving it color and some rounded corners in here. And in the text field, its hint title will comes from when we pass that title in here, and then we have prefix icon of search, and here let's put the constant in here also for this one row. In the action buttons, what we are doing is we are checking if the job post tab, the boolean we have specified in here, was true. So we will display a gesture detector on tab, which will do nothing for now because this is a simple UI. If this was false, sorry about that, we're saying if this was false, so we will only display this message outline icon. Otherwise we will display a row with the icon more vertical, which means a menu with that color, and then some size box between them, and then a message outline, again that icon with the same color, and some size box with 10 to give some spacing from the right side. That is how our app bar is doing. Now we will copy this app bar and paste it in here, and then we will pass the required items in the app bar. So that is what we are going to pass in our app bar widget. The context and the title of search is job tab false for now because we have not yet created the job tab for now, and we will do it in a while. Let's make this a stateful widget to make this set state work, and let's import this. And then for the scaffold state, we will do to use a global key in here, a final global key of the scaffold state, and then we will pass it in the key of the scaffold in order to access the state of the scaffold. So from the current state of the scaffold, we will open the drawer when our profile icon is clicked. That's it for now. In the body, we will go for calling the switch pages in here. But before this, to switch the pages, we have to do bottom navigation bar. To build a bottom navigation bar, then we will be allowed to navigate between the pages on that specific index. So we are going to have a bottom navigation bar like this with the items of bottom navigation bar item of home, network, post, and the notifications, and finally the job, which is using the icon of briefcase from the font awesome icons. And then we are going to configure some more properties of the bottom navigation bar. That would be these properties: selected item color, selected label style, unselected item color, and unselected label style. And we have specified the LinkedIn black color when the item is selected, and when the item is selected, its label style will also be LinkedIn black color. And the same opposite configuration for the unselected item and unselected label, and we are setting this to true show unselected labels when the item is unselected, so its label will also be displayed. And next, to interact with the bottom navigation bar, we need two more things: the on tab and the current index. So we got it in here, the current index of the page, and then on tap, and then when the specific navigation bar is tapped, set the state, and current index will become that index that is just clicked. So this current page index will be a simple integer and will be equal to 0 by default. And then now we have the index, so that now we can define the switch pages method in here. The method is going to accept the index, and that index will be our current page index. And in the body of the switch pages method, we will do to switch between the different pages: home page, network page, create page, notification page, and lastly the jobs page. So let's go and also create these pages. So we got our pages inside the main directory: create, home, jobs, network, and notifications, and all have by default a simple scaffold, and in the center some text of their specific page name. Then let's go to the main page and import these pages. That's it. After calling the pages in here, the errors will be fixed from here. Now we can go for hot restarting the app and see the results of what we have done right now. So you can see we have built this. We are currently on the home, and here is the home page, network, create page, notifications, and jobs, and we have the search for now. When we click this, nothing will happen. That is because in the app bar we also have to specify the drawer, and let's say by default the drawer widget. Later we will also define it to modify it and create our own drawer for LinkedIn clone app. That's it. Ctrl S to hot load. This time when we click this, a simple dummy app bar will appear, not the app bar but the drawer, and will look something like this. So now it's time to go for building the home page. So in the home page, what you have to do is to create a simple directory, name it widgets. Inside the widgets, there will goes the single post card widget, because each single post will be returned in the list view and will be the list of posts in here. And one more thing that I did not introduce to you, that is this time the data is specified a little bit different. We don't have the list of objects, but we are using the method what we're doing in our onboarding entity. So in the post entity we have a simple class and these fields also pass in the constructor, and there we have a static list where we have the post entities with the specified dummy data, and in the production app this data will come from the database, and you will get to know about this when you go to the 4 and 5 week and start building the WhatsApp clone. So you will get to know how the data is coming from the Firestore database and how we are displaying it there and how everything is happening. So for now we have this dummy data with the tags, total reacts, total comments, username, user bio, and all of that stuff. We have about 3 and 5 posts currently in the post, and the network we have the same thing. These fields and are in the list here, and the data is already specified, and this is LinkedIn data in that old format that we had in the previous when we were building the food delivery or food prime app. So we had the data like in this format, and now we have the format like this. So both are the same, but this approach creating fields and lists is more reliable, so doing this will be good. So now let's go and start creating the home page, then we will look at the single postcard widget also. First of all, we'll remove this const from here and also this center widget from here. Then put a column within the size box of its children and its height or vertical 5. Next in here is a container like a divider of height 8, and its color is LinkedIn light gray and that color code. Now Ctrl S to auto load, and we got this divider in here. Now we are going to have a list view that would be expanded, meaning that all the available space will be taken by this list view. In the item count we are passing the post data length, and the post data will be the post data, the static list coming from the post entity. And now it's time to create the postcard widget. But this is going to cause inconsistency while creating a single postcard. So for now we are going to design first the one card and then directly pass it in here, so it will be good with that well designed. So for now let's comment out this expanded widget and start creating the postcard directly in here. Then we will move it to postcard widget and directly call it here, so that will be easy for us to create just one postcard and then call it in there and pass the specific data in there, and the list view builder will return it 5 times with that specific data that we have stored it here in the post entity, that list of post list data. So in here let's start creating the single postcard widget. The single postcard. So our postcard looks something like this. We have a profile that all view is in the column, like here we have the user profile and some description and then the tags and then the image. So this is all in the column, and this first one is a row, and then also here these reactions are also in the row, and these like, comment, repost, and are also in the row. So this is going to be a long widget, but let's start creating it. First we will start with a column, and then inside the column we are going to have a container with a margin of horizontal and vertical 10 and a color of LinkedIn white and a color code. Then in the child of the container we are going to have one more column. This column is for displaying the profile, and below this the description and then the tags, because we have this full column with the vertical and horizontal spacing, and in the image we don't want to give some space, so that is because we have a column on top and then we have a nested column inside, which is this column, this profile, the description, and then the tags in here. So we have this column, and then inside this column first we're going to have a row children, and inside this row we are going to have first of all the profile. So we will do 2 size box widgets, one for horizontal spacing, the other for just for giving spacing to our image here, the profile image, and then we wrap our image also with the clip rag to clip it and give it some border radius of 35 to make it circle. And then we are gonna have an expanded widget with the child of column. That is because we will share all the space with this column because here we have something aligned vertically in that row. So we have first in the row the profile widget with the 70 width and height, and then we have this expanded widget which takes all that available space in that row. And here we have again the column. So now we will put our username and then this the bio of the user and then when that post was uploaded. So inside this column, first of all we will do put a row widget and its main axis alignment will be space between. And again inside the row we're gonna have an expanded widget again of the text because we want this username to take all the available space and move this menu icon to the rightmost. So we have expanded our text and then the gesture detector with the icon of more vertical, which is a menu icon. So this will be moved to the rightmost. And then outside from this row we're gonna have some text for the bio where we have the hard-coded bio for now, and later this will come from the post entity. Its max line is 1 and its overflow is ellipsis, which means that if it was overflowed from the screen it will just become ellipsis like some dots when there is no space for the other text when it's off the screen. And the style is font size 12 and the color is LinkedIn medium gray color with that color code. Now right after this text we will do a little bit vertical space and again a row for displaying the time and then an icon for the earth. And then also we have done the same for this, which means that 1 week has been done, we have posted this post and its overflow is ellipsis, the same thing, style and font size. Now if we Ctrl S to hot reload, we have made this section successfully. Our profile and the username, that is a row where we have expanded this text widget, and also this is a bio in the column, and also we have made this 1 week and then also the icon of the earth accessing from the font awesome icons. That's it. Now Ctrl S to hot reload and nothing has happened. And we are getting an error of render box not layout, render boundary. At the top it is saying render flex children have non-zero flex but incoming height constraints are unbounded. It means that we are doing something like creating something that is going from the screen height. That is because we are doing something wrong in here. It might be, let's say we have a column, a container, and this column is supposed to be a column only for this upper area, and then we have a row, and inside that row we are gonna have these one more column. So inside that row, I guess we have done something wrong in here. This expanded widget is supposed to be in the row, but it's outside the row and expanding the area. So that is why we are getting the unbounded height render flex error, because we have put the expanded widget outside from the row. Now let's move it inside the row and then Ctrl S to hot reload, and you can see we got our top area or the profile area of the single postcard widget. So that was the problem. We are putting the expanded widget outside from the row. Now let's close this row like this, and inside that column let's give some size box and some height of, let's say 10, and then a comma, and then let's make it constant. Now let's go for putting that description and the tags in here. So outside from this row we will do the post description with that little bit hard-coded text and some style of font size 16 and some vertical space right after the description. Now we got a description here. Also make sure to cross-axis alignment will be start to make this in the start. Then we will do right after this we need some tags. So for now we will put a simple text, and you will say, let's say Flutter Android, and let's say web Flutter dev, and let's say Google, and let's make it style, text style, font size, let's say 12, and color will be blue color that we have for LinkedIn, blue color, and let's make it constant. For now let's keep the them like this. Let's make it a little bit more larger, 14, and yes, now it looks great. Later we will map the list of tags that we have in the post entity right here, the tags. So we'll map these and we'll show them in one very different layout widget that you will see when we were retrieving the data from the post entity. For now we are just creating the demo of a single post, and later we will retrieve the data, and from the list view on that index, every widget, single postcard widget, will tag the data on that specific index. So for now let's keep this continue in the home page. So we got the tags like this. Now outside from this column, which have some extra spacing here, outside from this container in that our parent column, we will start coding in here. First there will be some size box, and then we will do a size box with the width double infinity to make its size overlap with the screen to make the image like this. Now if we Ctrl S to hard reload, we will get unable to load asset. That is because we also have to put the assets in here, and then we got that image in here, and I think we have to remove this size from here, and now it's good. So next thing we have to do it in here is to build the reaction place and then the comments and the for reposts. To build this, we are going to do is to right after this we will give some space right, and right after this vertical space we are gonna do a very simple padding widget, horizontal 10, and then here is its tag with the alignment of center left, and then we have 3 position widgets to lie these 3 images of the reactions on top of each other, and for that we have created this single react item widget which is accepting the image and the background color, and that's it. Next we are having a row of 42 comments and 52 reposts. Now when we Ctrl S to hard reload, we will get that just like this. So if you think we have just hard coded these on top of each other, so how that can be in the real world? When we are creating the real world application, you want to display the reactions like this one. So for that you have to have the images like the like and the heart image, and the like and the insight image, and like and the celebrate, and just like that for all. And then in the post model there will be a nested likes model, and each like and the like model will have a type. So according to that it will check the conditions. If the post has gotten the like and its type is a simple thumb like, so this will show a simple thumb. But in case if it got one more like and it is of type heart, so in that case it will show the image like this one, the thumbs, and on top of that we're gonna have the heart. So like that an image will be shown up. But in case if you got one more like and that will be of inside, so we'll get the image something like this, and this will be arranged just like this. We're gonna have a model like that. But this is the backend stuff and can be managed when you go out and search it yourself, and it's not that much hard. So for just the UI stuff we have built it and hard coded it just like that, and then right after this we will do to have some size box and a divider and some more space like that, and then we're going to build this area like the like, comment, repost, and send. And then so we will, after this the size box we will create a row of main axis alignment space around and single action item widget, and icon is the specified icons, and the title is like, comment, repost, and send. And the single action item widget is going to look something like this. It is accepting an icon and a title, and in the column we have an icon, and below this we have a title with some color applied. After this Ctrl S to hard reload, we got the like, comment, repost, and send also. And then we need a divider like this. To do that we will do right after this row we will put some size box and then the same divider like this with some more height, let's say 8. So we got this our single postcard widget. Now we can go and close this like that, and cut this, go to this single postcard widget, make a stateful widget in here and name it single postcard widget, and then go for importing the material dart and then paste it in here. Remove that C from here before the column. Now import what is required in here, and then also import the font awesome. Also these cannot be imported, but we have to move these methods to the postcard widget because they are no more needed in the home page. Let's pass it down here and our errors are solved. This time this single postcard is going to accept the final post entity, and that will be post. Let's remove this entity from here and pass it in the constructor that would be required, and then now we will pass the data dynamically. Now this profile image will comes from post.widget.post.user-profile, and then the name will come from widget.post.username, and then here again has an error. Let's remove the const from here and make this one constant, and then for the bio we will remove this hard-coded bio from here. That will be widget.post.bio user bio. Remove this constant from here and put the const for the text style. Next there will be widget.post.create@, and also remove the const from here and make these two constants. Next the description will also comes from the widget post description. Remove the const, and also this time this tag will be a little bit different. Let's remove this from here, and there will be a wrap widget, and in the children of the wrap we will do to map the upcoming tags from the post and then access each tag and then display it in the text with that color. Now what that wrap means, it is similar to the row and column widgets, but it differs in that it will automatically wrap its children to the next line if there is no enough space to fit them all on the same line. Like in the row, when we put something at one line horizontally and there is no space, so we will get the render flow exception that there is no space and the text or anything that we are displaying is going off from the screen size. But this is not the case in the wrap. When some widget is going off the screen, so it will break that line and will adjust this in the second line. So that is why for the tags we use this. And now when we Ctrl S to hot reload, nothing will happen because I forgot this was not a time to Ctrl S but to just access the data from the post, and then in the home page we have to display it in here so that we'll be allowed to see it. Anyways, now we are not able to see anything on the screen, but it doesn't matter, it's okay. In the size box we will do to have something, remove this image asset from here, but instead of the asset we will do widget.post.post image. And then also here I think I forgot something. No, it's good. I thought I forgot the assets putting before the post image or the profile image in that case. And here we are going to do, there will be, that is the widget.post.total reacts, and this is not going to be a constant though. And then here will be widget.post.total comments, and the row is not going to be constant but their text style is going to be constants. So the same will be the case, that will be before this like this, and here will be total reposts, and this will be constant like that, and everything will remain the same forward. But here is one more thing that we have to consider, is that the image, the case where we have a single image that we are displaying, here can be, we can check the condition if the post images, if the multiple images was empty. So in that case, you'll use a single image from the post model. Otherwise, we will do to put a size box and then a stack, and in this children of the stack, we're gonna have a page view. Like if there are multiple images, so we will display it in a page view, like the scrollable, that will be scrollable. And in the children of the page, we will map these images and access each image in the list and display it in the image asset with the container width of infinity. And here is a color when there is no image, so simple medium gray color will be displayed, but there will be color. The image cannot be null, the image cannot be empty here. And in the stack, we have the position widget. The widget here is that means this white image. Whenever we have multiple images, so on the stack, on each page, on each image, this thing or this icon will also be displayed in here. So that is what this position widget, and that is why we have put this tag on top of the page view. That's it. Now we can go for copying this single postcard widget, go for home page, and then uncomment this out, and we can go paste it in here and import this, and we have passed the data in here. Now it's a better time to how to start the application to see the results of what we have done. Now we can go for sign in, and here we got our image. You can see the images are scrollable with the profile, the description and the bio, and 1 minute ago, and it tags you can see in the wrap. When the space ends in here, the wrap widget directly adjusts is to go to the next line. And the image in here, if there is multiple images, you will be able to scroll. That is because we have put the page view in here, and then we have got our home page like this. Kinda hard, right? So we have successfully created our home page. Now it's time to go for creating the network page. So in the network page, again the same thing. Let's remove this, and let's go for removing this also. So our network page looks something like this. So we have to create the manage my network and annotation, then we go for creating a single network, and then we will display it in the grid view. So let's go and do this. So in the scaffold, we're gonna have a column and some size box of height 10, and after this a padding widget of manage my network. It's in the row, a text and an icon in here. They're aligned space between in the row. Right after this row, we are gonna have size box and then a divider and some more size box like the vertical space, and then again the same padding with the child row widget, invitation, and then an arrow forward iOS, and then some spacing right here. Then again a divider, and now it's time to create the item for the network, and then we'll go for returning it in the grid view. So Ctrl S to auto reload, and we got these manage my network and invitations. So we're gonna have a grid view like this, but for now it will be commented out. So let's start creating the single network user widget. We're gonna have a card of elevation 3. That is because it's a card with some elevation. You can see some shadow in here. And then in the child of that card, we will do a stack widget. That is because we're going to display this profile on top of that background image, so that's why we need this. So inside the stack, we will do to first have a column and then a container with the width double infinity and height 80, and in the child there's an image of from assets background image 1.jpg, and it's in the box. In that container, it's covering the whole area, and then some size box of vertical. Then we are gonna have two padding widgets, and there will be some simple text for the username and the bio. And then outside that column, we will do to put align widget, and its alignment will be top center, and its width and height will be 110, and then its background color will be this. And then in the child, a clip right widget to clip that image of profile. So this will be displayed on top of this background color. Now Ctrl S to auto reload. So we got this in here. First we have a card in the stack we have this in the top center, so it's aligned in the top center of the stack. And then in the stack we have a column widget. So everything that is put in here, like we have this first children of the stack and the second children will be displayed on top of the first children of the stack. So this is the profile widget and this is displayed on top of that column. And then we have put the background image in here and we give the 60 height to display the name and the bio in here. And then right after this we will put some vertical space, again a padding, and then a row widget of group icon, size box with the horizontal, and an expanded widget of 11 mutual connections. And then the max line for this is 2 overflows ellipses, meaning that if it goes off the screen, so it will become ellipsis, and instead of getting an overflow we will get the 3 dots like that. And its color is LinkedIn medium gray color. That's it. Now when we Ctrl S to reload, we will get it just like this. That's it. Now next thing we need is some more size box and a container button widget that is connect. Its margin is horizontally 10, width is infinity, and height is 40, and it's decorated with the borders and with some rounded corners, and its color of the text is blue, and also the border color is blue. This time when we Ctrl S to reload, we got this connect button. That's it. Now here it might look something weird because that is a single and the single item is taking the whole space. So we will cut this from here where it is. So we'll cut this from here, this card, and then you'll create a directory widgets, and then inside the widgets we'll create single network user widget, and then we will create a stateful widget single network user widget, and then import the material dot, and then paste this, import the necessary libraries inside, and there we go. Now let's copy this, go to the main page, not in the main page, but this will be in the network page. Let's uncomment this out. And one more thing here we have to do is to convert the network page to a stateful widget, and then here access the network data from the network entity, and then here let's go for importing the single network widget, and this single network is going to accept the network entity, not the exception but the network entity, and then pass it in the constructor, and now we will access the data dynamically. So this background is going to be widget.network.bg user background color, and then for the username the same thing will be happening, widget.network.username, and the same will be for bio. Let's remove the const from here also for this one, and put the const for the padding. So we will do in here for the text widget.network.user bio, and then next here we need is widget.network.total mutual connections, and then also remove this padding constant and put the padding for only the child widgets. Also here for the connect and for the profile we will do widget.network.user profile image. That's it. Now we can go to the single network page and everything will be solved. We put the shrink wrap in here so that we have to wrap our widget with the single child scroll view, not the expanded. That is because we also want to make the whole area scrollable, so when you scroll, so the manage my network and invitation will also be not displayed when you scroll down. If we set the shrink wrap property of list view or grid view to true, so they will take up only the space they needs according to the children in their list. Otherwise, the default behavior of list view or grid view within a column is to expand to fill the entire height of the column. That's why we face the render flex exception when we directly add list view or grid view in the column without expanding it or setting its shrink wrap property to true. However, if you set the shrink wrap property of list view or grid view to true and do not wrap the column with a single child scroll view, the list view or grid view will not be scrollable. This is because the list view or grid view will only take up the space they needs, and if the space is not enough, the user will not be able to scroll to see the rest of the content. To make the list view or grid view scrollable, even if it has shrink wrap property of true, you can wrap the column with a single child scroll view as we did. This will allow the column to scroll even if it does not have a specific height. And that's what we wanted. We want to make the whole area scrollable. So that was all about the shrink wrap. We set the shrink wrap to true to give us that grid and make the whole screen scrollable by wrapping our column with a single child scroll view. But if we remove the single child scroll view and wrap the grid view builder with the expanded widget, so these manage my network annotation will not be scrollable at all, but will be stuck at the top like a sticky headers. So we don't want them to be like that, so we set the shrink wrap to true and make the whole area scrollable. We have achieved what we want. Now when you Ctrl S to hot reload, you can see we got what we expected in here. I already have set the cross axis count to true so that two network items will be displayed in here, and the main axis spacing and cross axis spacing, the horizontal and vertical spacing between the items like this, and then the aspect ratio of 0.6 to give the aspect ratio to each item in the network. So that was it for building the network page. Now we can go for creating the notification page, and then in the part 2 we will look for the other pages. So to build the notification page, again we will go for this and then remove the const and remove this from here. It is going to be really simple notification page. There will be nothing really fancy like the network page and the home page. So first of all, again we will start from the column, and then inside the column we will give some size box from top, and then to build the notification page we have this. Okay, we got this. We have to build this all my posts and mentions. This is only UI, but this will allow us to interact between them, but nothing will change, only the interaction will happen, and then a simple list view like this. So to build this all my posts and mentions, here in the right after the size box we will do a padding of horizontal 10 and its child row single category item, which has some dynamic properties. For the set stat, first of all we will make this notification page a stateful widget, and for this selected category index we have to create an integer selected category equal to 0. And then to create the single category item we will go at the bottom, and this is going to accept the title color for the text color and another color for the BG color, and a white callback when it is tapped, and double for the border. And then this is going to return a JSON detector, and all the properties will pass directly in here. So we have got it like this. Let's make these constants the size box, and then there is 9 errors. When you click this, these are about the color, so let's import the styles.dart from our themes, and there we go. Now when we Ctrl S to hot reload, we got them like this. Now we have to do is to build the notification single item. So in the right after this row we will do to put some size box and some divider of height 8 of the LinkedIn light gray color, and a list view builder, and a horizontal and vertical padding inside the list view, and then also the shrink wrap to true. That is because we also want to make the whole area scrollable, so we made this scrollable, so we made this shrink wrap to true, and then we will wrap our column with the widget single child scroll view. So we can make the whole area scrollable by setting the shrink wrap to true and wrapping our column with a single child scroll view. But if you remove the single child scroll view, the whole area will not be scrollable, and then you have to put the expanded in here and remove the shrink wrap from here. You can do two things with the list view. By default, if you do not want to make the full area scrollable, so inside the column you have to wrap your list view with the expanded widget to give it all the available space in the screen, and only that space will be preserved by the other widgets that are on top of that list view. And you can also do one more thing with the list view by just wrap the list view with the container and give it some height, so that list view will be displayed on that specific height that you just give it. And if you want to make the full area scrollable with having a list view and you don't want to make the list view to be expanded, then you have to tell the list view to just rebuild all of its children, no matter if they are displayed on the screen or not. And this can become possible by setting this shrink wrap to true, and then to make the whole area scrollable, wrap your column with a single child scroll view, and there we go, we have achieved what we want. And now let's go for creating a single notification widget. So our single notification widget is going to look something like this. This was not a so much long widget, and I have not created any dynamic data for it because this is just a showcase and it's really simple page to create. So I just create a simple method for this. But if you're dealing with the dynamic data and you have the different names and different body of the notification, so that you have to create a separate widget for this and then pass the data dynamically from your data that is coming from the database. So that I have created it just like this, a container with the width double infinity, height 80 and some margin and a row to align them horizontally, and then inside the row we have one more row for this stuff, and then one column at the end having the one edge and the menu icon. So first in the row we have some size box and the user profile, and then we have the username, and then commented on your post, checkout or whatever the body of the comment, and then after this we have the column and they're aligned in the row main axis alignment of space between, meaning that both of the children will be aligned, one at the leftmost and one at the rightmost. Now when we Ctrl S to hot reload, so we got it just like this. You can see the whole area is scrollable. That is because all the items of the list view is directly built, but in case of wrapping it with the expanded widget, so this will not be possible to make whole area scrollable, because this list view is going to take only the space that is required, and only that area will become scrollable and other area will become stuck at their specific place. So we make the whole area scrollable like this. That is because again all the items are directly built when the list view was built using this shrink wrap to true with that list view builder. And the same was the case in the network here. In the home page, now if you see, when you scroll between the pages, we also having scrolling this border with us, but this is not what we want. So what we can do it in here in the home page is we can control the scroll of the list view. We can put the controller and the, let's say the controller in here. Let's create a scroll controller in here and name it controller, make it equal to the scroll controller, and that's it. Now in the init stat, what we will do is we will check if the scroll controller dot position dot pixel was greater than 3, let's say. It means we have reached to some extent of the scroll, let's say higher than 3. So we will set the stat and we will create one variable of boolean is show equal to by default true, and let's set stat to false, and otherwise we'll set the stat to make it again true. And then here we can check the condition on this. If is show was true, show this, otherwise show a container. So what it means, here we are controlling the scroll of the list view. We're saying if the scroll view was scrolled, and its position pixel becomes greater than the 3 pixel, it means we have scrolled to some extent in the list view. So set this is show to false, otherwise if it was less than 3, make it true, and by default it's true. Now when we set this, save this, and when we scroll this, nothing is happening. That's because we have to hard restart the application. So all that means when we scroll to some extent, so just not show this border or that divider in here. But if we are on top, like the pixel of the scroll was not scroll at 3 extent and is less than 3, so we will display this border or this divider. So we can go for sign in, and again for sign in, and it's saying the scroll controller failed and position is not empty. The scroll controller is not attached to any scroll views. That is because we have to remove this from here. We have to do the scroll controller dot add listener. Inside that listener we have to do this stuff. Now how to start the application, and I hope this time this is going to work. Now let's go to the sign in, and there is not an error. When we scroll to some extent, this border disappear, and we come up again here, this appears again. So that is what we wanted, you can see in here. So that was all for the first part. In the second part, we will go for designing the other pages and the remaining dialog stuff. So that's it. If you have any question, ask me in the comment section, and I will see you in the next part of building the LinkedIn clone UI.